Okay, all right. So, for the recording sake, welcome team. Good morning, good evening for session 9. Today we'll be talking about the CrewAI platform for building multi-agentic AI applications. Okay, so what we did last week? Can anyone summarize, talk about what we have done last week with agents? What framework did we use? What we have created?
Basically, it is going to discuss the picture of the AI and what is the role and responsibility, what are the major components required for AI, and
Mhm.
Pydantic and DuckDuck uh, packages, how it has free version and
Okay,
more
so
is going
last week we talked about agents, what
agentic.
is an agent, what are the components of agent, and then we explored LangChain, building agents with LangChain, giving tools to the models. Then we talked about Agno framework and creating agents with the Agno framework, and then how multi-agentic AI works, right? So there are a lot of frameworks. As I said, there is LangGraph, there's um, LangChain you can build, LangGraph you can use. CrewAI is one of the popular. Then you have Bedrock, then you have Vertex AI, then you have AI Foundry, then you have Autogen. Uh, it's There are a lot of frameworks, Langflow, right? So a lot of these frameworks that you can build your agents on. And then mostly like we have already explored Langflow to build a RAG, right? The same thing, everything will be same except for building the RAG components. You will use the agent component, that object that you can drag and drop onto the UI and configure the components and build the workflow using the agent. Okay. So we will look at that also. Tomorrow we'll slightly couple of more frameworks tomorrow to build the agent. So today we'll be talking about CrewAI. So once we do with CrewAI today, tomorrow we'll touch upon a couple of more frameworks, Langflow, either LangGraph or text, one of these. And then we will summarize what are different frameworks and all of that. So that will wrap up the agents, building the agents with different frameworks. Of course, there are so many, we cannot obviously explore all the frameworks here, but this will give you the foundation to explore any framework. You will have the same components. It's kind of doing a implementing the things differently at each platform. And moreover, once you start getting into these platforms like Bedrock or Google or Azure, so things are not free, right? So you have to be cautious about what you are building and what you are running, the CPUs, GPUs, whatever the VMs, right? So make sure you keep an eye on the cost, and make sure you are deleting all the components once you create that. Is PhiData changed to Agno? Yes. Yeah. Initially, it was called PhiData. The libraries and everything was called PhiData. They renamed it or changed it to Agno. So both are same.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Um, so where did you see that PhiData? Where did you see?
So in the collab notebook, the code was for Phi data. So I was facing issues. So I changed to Agno and then
No, I
change
think.
all the code.
Oh, we didn't share the Agno one. There were two notebooks. There
Agno
was
one
one
was not
older
there
one.
in
PhiData.
older one. It's I think it's older one.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, just let us know. Ping me. I will check that. There were two notebooks. One is the Phi data, that was older one, and then there's new one which is
Research with article is something we want to check in the Google or search engine about some articles about Apple or something. Then that was
okay.
I think it's New one. The file data was the older one.
So, two things. One, yeah, we already have the Agno one, and then I can share that. But actually, it's a good thing, right? So you got to know research and build yourself how to change library. So it's a good thing that happened. But whatever is there in the recording, if it is not there, just ping in the group. If it is, the notebook is different, then we'll share that. I will share, make sure that I share the new version of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we need to replace only file data with Egno everywhere,
Yeah,
and then
just
it will,
simply,
yeah,
they just rename the library. That's all. Everything
rename. Yeah.
mostly is same. Okay. Lot of those library changes keep happening, even with the LangChain, OpenAI, same things happen. They move the components. So backward compatibility is not. That's why most of the times you freeze the versions of the each libraries. Even in production, you freeze the version of the libraries when you deploy so that these changes will not impact your deployments. Okay. But when you want to upgrade, then yes, you have to do all of the regression and make sure all the libraries are there or code is running. Then you do. But just for normal deployments, you don't change the libraries. So fix the library versions basically, because if you leave the latest ones, there will be compatibility issues between the libraries. Okay. Anyways, yeah, thanks again. We will take care of that. Okay. Now, so yeah, so those are the platforms that I'm talking about. So what we'll do, we talked about Agno. We'll talk about the um, today. We'll talk about uh, 1 second. CrewAI platform. So this we are what looking at, an agent, what it has, task. An agent will have a role and it has a task. Okay, it is relevant especially for CrewAI framework because that's how they have actually designed their agents to have a role and then you have a task. And in the role also they have something called a backstory. Backstory is something they give you to give you context, to give the agent the context of what it is trying to achieve, and a task for the agent to execute for the goal. And then obviously the tools, same thing, just like how you did your in the Agno framework, the same thing, the tools, the memory also. And planning reflection, again, internal, it's part of the agent, how it works based on its planning, its decision making, autonomous decision making to decide the workflow based on the inputs that you do. Okay. Um, and then this is the multi-agent workflow that we're talking about. But you see here, there's a small mistake. It's not retrieval agent. It's just an say agent. Okay. So in the agent A, B, C, so just like here, one agent is having all of these tools. And once you give any goal a problem, it can use any of these to solve. However, it becomes overwhelmed to handle all the tools and to split and then keep running in the loop for all the tools. And also to keep it modular, the design is to have multiple agents and each agent focusing on just one task. Okay, so here you have a supervisor agent. So I have to change these labels. This is the supervisor agent, or in CrewAI you call it a crew, right? And then these are all your team members or leads. So each agent again has a specific role, specific task, and it has its own tools. So, and then you can also say whether an agent can delegate its work to other agent, or it cannot. So it has to execute it itself. Let's say, for example, you wanted to look at search something on the net, but somehow it ended up calling this agent. So the agent does not have the web search tool, it has only vector search, so it can choose to delegate it back if the delegation is there. So it will come back and say, hey, if I figure out some other agent, so it will call this agent then to go and get the latest news. So that kind of mechanism is built in, that if an agent is not capable, it can always delegate to other agents or back to the supervisor, and all of that is built in. You don't need to build all of that workflows kind of. Okay. And if it has anything with the communication, it will call this agent. So all of that is written in the metadata or in the definition or what you call the role of each agent. So that in this ecosystem, in this workflow, the supervisor and other agents are aware, mutually aware of each other's capabilities. Okay, so that the supervisor can keep calling the agents based on the capabilities of each agent, what it can do. Okay, so that's what the supervisor will do. And then once you get back all of this, then you have a model that can summarize. There can be a summary agent, or this agent itself can use the model to summarize and send the response out. Okay, so this, when you talk about what you want to answer, so the bot we were talking about earlier, it's like, I mean, you can also split this one tool. So this is about the knowledge base. Okay, so where you have your documents, chunking, and then vector database embedding and collection to answer the questions. This is generic. You don't need any role-based authentication here, or row security, row-based filter, or row-based access here. Here, it not so as instead of web search, you can think of connecting to a RDBMS SQL server, where the agent can directly, using a Python tool or a connector, it can connect. It will also be part of something like this. Here you have a tool. In this, the tool, basically it will take care of getting the user IDs and authentication as one function, and then connecting to the RDBMS and executing the query to get the details. So before that, a bit of our text to SQL also comes into play. Basically, the converting the user question into a SQL. That is still not 100%. There are some, like, people who have worked on Databricks. Genie workspace is one of that, where based on the metadata of all the schema and the tables you add to the workspace, the Genie is able to understand the question and then convert it into SQL and query the database and get the data, bring out and do visualizations. So a bit of that you can write, or you can say, pre-built queries also you can have and choose among them. But there is considerable training that is needed here, or grooming here needed, to make sure you get proper data from the database. Because unlike here, the vector search and results, you don't have that here. So you have to, this is RDBMS, you have to create a proper SQL query with proper syntax to query the database. Okay, so that is the multi-agent RAG system, or multi-agent agentic system that you can have. It's hybrid. Basically, you have both RAG and the resources from external systems. So what is, so any questions in this so far? I think we have already covered. So I just keep revisiting this so that you have a very good understanding of what agentic systems look like. Any questions?
Regarding the Genie, it's a part of Databricks, right? So Genie space where we
Yes.
can
Yeah,
pull
Genie
the
is
tables
part
from
of the data.
Unity catalog.
Sorry, your voice is not clear, Pradeep. Can't hear you.
Genie is a part of Databricks, right? So where we are going to pull the tables from the Unity catalog, and then we can also create predefined queries also to get the answer, and also we will get the flow diagram also, like visualization diagram through Genie space.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You can connect to Unity catalog, and then you have all the metadata. You can add whatever schema and tables to the workspace. You can create multiple workspaces. So each workspace, you can add all tables. You can run queries. It'll get data in the tabular format, or you can ask it to generate visualization also based on that. So that will also be, it will also create that. That's
So
pretty.
that is going to provide that to data analysts, right, in future. So it's going to reduce the number of data analysts if Genie is completely 100% is working, because clients doesn't depends on that data analyst, right? If Genie is completely full-fledged is implemented. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm not able to get your question. Your voice is echoing or something.
If the Genie is completely fully released, so then it is going to reduce the data analyst person, right, in future.
Genie is fully, it's already released.
Implemented.
Part
Yeah.
of Databricks implemented. Yes, a lot of companies are already implementing it. Whoever have
Okay.
Databricks platform.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, but it's not like 100% accurate. Basically, it also needs a lot of training.
True.
It works on metadata and tags of the tables to help what each table represents, what kind of data it has, what each column has, all of those definitions. Of course, AI can generate based on the data, but also based on the tags and everything. However, the questions can be different, right? So there is no standard format to ask a question. Now, framing the SQL from the question is a bit tricky, I would say. But however, it's only given to the leadership, right? So if you want to, as I said, if it is a customer support agent, you have all those um, orders related information to get the status of their orders, order lines, and all of that. But if it is the leadership, then you will have finance related, like sales data or inventory data and all of that visualizations that they can look at. Obviously, there is a lot of using Unity catalog, of course, have a lot of role-based access, data governance built around it. But for chatbots, yes, you have to build some of it off the table, only specific tables that you would expose. And the other stuff is based on the RAG architecture. But yeah, yes, Genie is already, it's a pretty, I would say, advanced product from Databricks that has evolved. It's been there for more than 2 years, 3 years now. And slowly the adoption is increasing. But end of the day, it's just that, it's an agentic RAG application, that text to SQL use case. Okay. Yeah. So one of the frameworks, so we talked about CrewAI. CrewAI is a lean, lightning fast Python framework built entirely from scratch. So it's not using the LangChain like the other ones, LangFlow, completely independent of LangChain or other agent frameworks. So it enables agents to collaborate on tasks with role-based responsibilities, and it can build on top of LLMs, OpenAI, Bedrock, which means you can integrate any of these OpenAI or Bedrock flows or vector stores, tools, everything onto this platform. So what are the core components? So we'll see, basically this is just for information's sake as you go, and it's not a very huge product to know about. But as you see, as you go in and start writing the agents, build the agents using CrewAI, you will know how internally it kind of works, some of the components. So it has the agent registry, orchestrator, we know it has memory store and tool belt. Agent registry is a catalog of reusable agent profiles. So basically it will store the roles and skills of, if you have a reusable agent for off-the-shelf agents that it can store. Orchestrator is the workflow engine that assigns tasks and routes messages. That's how we have seen here this routing and all, which agent to call, with what task, what is the question, come back, you critique the answer, make sure it's correct or not, then go back, all of that. The routing is done through the orchestrator engine. It assigns the tasks and the routes to messages. Memory store, as I said, inbuilt memory store for the short term. For the long term, you can use any of Chroma, Pinecone, any of the databases, vector databases for memory store. Tool belt, same thing. You can use databases, search, custom code, APIs, whatever as your tools to add it to the set. So this is what the crew looks like. Basically, you have multiple agents, and agents will have tools. And there is a model. Agent has a model, agent has tools, and they are given a task. And of course, you have the memory part that is shared across the agent's memory space so that all the agents have access to the memory. Then once all of these tasks are concluded, you would get the final outcome. Okay. What are the Crew framework key features? So most of these frameworks have two parts. One is more creative, that would call the flows, and then the other one's called the automations, workflow standard automation. So here we are talking about Crew agents, process, and tasks. Okay, Crew is the top level. As I just said, it's the supervisor agent or the complete agent teams that can manage a complete team. That's the Crew. It oversees workflows, collaboration, and outcome. Agents, we know it has a model, it has tools, it can delegate tasks and make autonomous decisions. Process is something different. This is a workflow management system. Defines collaboration patterns, control task assignments, manage interactions, ensures efficient execution. That's kind of how the workflow orchestration happens. Task is, again, you are defining here. So the agent will have a role, and then it can execute a task. So you can give multiple tasks, but each agent, so a task will have the objectives, what you want to specifically achieve with the task. So you assign the task to the agent. So agent always comes with a role and a task, and of course, internal tools, model, and all of that. It's feed into large process, produce the actionable results. And this is how all of it works together. The Crew will organize the overall operation. Agents work on their specialized task, and the process ensures smooth collaboration. Tasks get completed to achieve the goal. So the goal is, there will be an overall goal. It gets split into the tasks, and the tasks get executed by the agents to complete the problem or the overall goal. So this is how it is all orchestrated. If you want to look at how the orchestration, so input when you run automation. So let's say we have three agents, lead research specialist, company and product specialist, and sales content strategist, three agents. This is the task that is defined for agents. So the first task says conduct thorough research on lead company and the lead industry, focus on the current market position, challenges they might be facing, potential needs that our product could address. So here, company and industry are variables. So whenever you run with a different company and industry, it's kind of parameters you pass to the application. It would run. Here again, same company and product specialist will take company name, product name, and the lead company, lead industry, and execute the task. Sales content strategy, again, you have a task. So these inputs are the output of this is shared with the other agent. So it will have the findings of the first agent to go through and figure out and then use it in your next task execution. And finally, you get the output. So that's basically at high level. Nothing much to worry about, just these things, 4 steps that it takes care of. So when we do the demo, you will understand. You can just go here and read whatever we are talking about. AI agent adoption production process. It's open source multi-agent orchestration framework. You can install CrewAI and then run. So it's just all like code based, right? And then it has a wide adoption in the companies, in the industry. All of these companies have already adapted, and we have also used at our company workplace. CBRE, this is approved. We are using this framework to create a multi-agentic application. Okay. So you see here planning, reasoning, tools, memory. These are same 4 things, how each thing that you can add, the tools and collaboration, knowledge, content source. You can give a lot of, file paths for it to have the resources and all of it. So defining agents, there are different ways again, defining agents. One of the feature of CrewAI is you can write code like this to define an agent, just like we did in Agno last week. You can also define in YAML file, just like, it looks like configuration. So you can also define your agent in a YAML file, and you can use that YAML file to load all the agents into your program. That is also possible. You can define all of these agents as configuration files, YAML files. So you can define agent in YAML. You have tasks. You can also define tasks in the YAML. Output you can do as Markdown or JSON. You can also get an output. You can define, I want the output as just the string text, or you can define a JSON structure or object. Object is your same thing, Pydantic framework libraries and a collection objects that you can define and have a structured input and output for each of these agents. They can read and write in the same structure. Okay. You can define the crew again in the YAML. Choose the collaboration method. There are different collaboration methods, sequential, parallel, hierarchical. So all of that you see here, process.hierarchical. You can also define that and then run the crew, right? So that's the basis of it. Okay. Yeah. Questions?
Ask a question.
Yeah, Ganesh.
Yeah. I'm trying to understand what is, in CrewAI, there is a role concept for agents. How this is different from the Agno agents we saw last week? Like, can you maybe compare those two, and in what ways, like Crew maybe is like shining better than Agno, or vice versa? Is there any pros and cons, or?
Yeah. So more. So basically, CrewAI is more evolved.
Hello.
We can say more features and more robust.
Voice is breaking.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I
Nilesh?
can
Yeah.
hear you now, but I couldn't for the
Yeah.
last few seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sure. Okay. So CrewAI is more
Again, I
about.
cannot hear you.